morning, is it from Zetster's lab? Well, I haven't made a video in ages. Had absolutely nothing to say. I was kind of in the, how do they call it? Dark night of the soul or something. I don't know. I just had nothing to say. And I've learned that don't say anything if you've got nothing to say. But this morning I woke up and it's as if a darkness has lifted or something, and I just had something to say. But I'll talk about that later. And I wrote this post for Facebook and this morning and put it on, and I just felt, you know, it's one of those posts that you cannot not do it. I mean, the life in me was so strong, prompting me so strongly that I just had to write it and put it on. I've also learned it's not about who's reading it. It's just about what's going on in the spirit, and that I just need to do what the spirit in me leads me to do. So the whole message this morning was all about this whole story about bowing down to other people, and how you dare not bow down to people because you only can bow down to God. And I didn't have any opinion about that, because I've also learned my opinion means absolutely nothing. So this morning I was reading on Facebook and I saw this photo of this little boy, and he was saying, "I've got Jesus in my heart." And immediately it clicked. Yes, that is true. So here comes the message. I was actually going to talk about, I got this fantastic heaps of material. You can see it there in my cupboard, and I just have this urge to make something this morning, and then I found this beautiful piece of linen. And what I actually wanted to create, this linen that was too small, so I found another pattern on Pinterest, and now I'm going to do it. I'm just going to show you quickly. It's just this beautiful piece of linen. I cut it like this, and now I'm just going to make something to put a little thing to take it in like that. And then this is going to be my beautiful linen top. But when it's done, I'll put a photo, and I'll try to put a link below this just so that you can see. You know, and I'm excited about the top because I am not into the pattern making anymore. I just want to sew and make something work. So if I finish it and it's not right, then I'll just continue here and there and until it's right. The same with our life. But let me get back to my message. Bowing down before people. And this little boy said, "But I've got Jesus in my heart." And I said, exactly. So, and then the message just became so strong that I just have to share it. You know, we all believe in God, and we can only bow down to Him and to nobody else. But let's get down to reality, or whatever. Where is God? Where is your God? Where is my God? And you know, the awesome thing is about, I don't use the word God anymore, because I truly believe every human ever created on planet Earth creates his or her own God into his image. So there's only, for me, I've learned that it's not about the God that I think how he is and how he, it's about the life in me and the life in you. It's all about the life. our spiritual Father, our source, our life, unconditional love, that is our, call it God, but it's our life, our very, very own life. So there's no God outside there somewhere. There's only the abundant life that's in me. And then I can only come back to the teaching of Jesus. And he said, my Father and I are one. And if you've seen my Father, you've seen me. But his Father wasn't a person. So how could we have seen him? And if he was not a person? And then he said, the same Spirit in me is also in my Father, in my source. The same life. We've got the same life. So if you've seen me, my life, you've seen my Father's life. But that means spirit. So the little boy who said, I've got Jesus in my heart, he wasn't talking about a physical Jesus that's now in him or whatever, or the man. He was talking about the life of Jesus, the spiritual life, the same life that's in me and you. That life. So yes, the little boy has his father's spiritual source, spiritual father. We are all created in the image and likeness of our spiritual Father. So the little boy, he's got Jesus in his heart. He's got the life that was in Jesus. That life, that same life, he has now in him. He just knows it at this stage. He doesn't understand it. His parents just told him, you've got Jesus in your heart, blah, 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 and he believes that. He doesn't understand. It's his very own life. And that's the awesomeness. The same life that's in that little boy, that same abundant, everlasting, all-consuming, unconditional love, that spirit, that life, is also in me. And that life was in Jesus, the person, the man. And he said, as I am, so are you in this world. So there's no difference. Your Father's life is also in you, our Father, because my Father is also our Father. He didn't speak to Christians. There wasn't a group or whatever that were called anything. He was just speaking to people that was there around him, listening to him. So he was not speaking and telling a specific group of people that you've got my spirit and nobody else does. He was just randomly telling people that I am now telling you my life, my spiritual life, my spiritual source, whatever, my Father, that life is your life. And that's your very own life. So now we have got this thing that we may not bow down to people. We may only bow down to our God. But once again, where is he? Where is the only true Father source, life source? Call him, it, whatever, God, I don't know, but I call my life, my spiritual life, who I really am, underneath this flesh and this is it, like Jesus said. He said, don't look at me, there's no good in me, the man. Don't worship me. He said, there's no good in me. The only good in me is the life of my Father. And that life is also in you. So, behind this flesh that you see, that's gonna become dust once again, there's my life, the source, my Father, my God. And that is also in you. So we all say, I can only bow down to my God, but who actually is your God? It's the abundant, everlasting, all-consuming life in all. The same life that was in Jesus, the same life that's in the little boy. So the same life that's in everybody else, even when they don't realize it. I didn't realize this truth. I was in religion for 45 years, kind of, until my spiritual eyes were opened and I realized the life in me, my God, is not out there. My spiritual father, call it, is not out there. It's in here. The same life that Jesus spoke, I have. I'm not separate from the life that was in Jesus. I wasn't separate. I'm not separated from my spiritual father. So like the little boy said, Jesus is in my heart, I can say the life of Jesus, his Father's life, is also in me and in everyone else. And so when I want to bow down to my God or whatever, what I believe in my very life, where will I find it? Or him? All over, everywhere, in everybody. So that's actually what Jesus said we should do. Love God above all. And that God he was talking about, the life in him, his source, his spiritual father, his very own spirit life. Love that above everything else, because that's who you really are. And then love your neighbor. Who's your neighbor? It's everybody out there. Why should you love them? Because they're good people? No, because they have the same life in them. So if you love your God, the real, only real God, that is the Spirit that created all this. We are all created in the image and likeness of our spiritual Father, our source. And if you love that, then you can love your neighbor, because you don't love the man or his beliefs or his color or his whatever. You love him because you realize that the same life in you is also in him. That's why you love him. And that's why you can bow down before him. You can love him. Let's call it once again, you can wash his feet. Even if he's a murderer in this realm, he's bound by the spirits of this world. He doesn't do those things because he likes it all. He's just born into this realm in so much, let's call it generational curses, bondages, whatever you want to call it. Let's say he comes into this world. I always talk about that I was adopted. And what happened in the 9 months that I was in my biological mother's womb, I was, let's call it, shot by the spirits of rejection. Rejection the whole time. I mean, can you imagine my biological mother? I know she was 17, still in school. My father was at university, also bound in religion. So their parents and grandparents said, this is the biggest sin ever. We will not keep the baby. You will have to, thank goodness, not abort her, or you will give it away. Give it to adoption. Whatever. And that is how my soul became formed into that womb, with this terrible fear that my mother must have been feeling, this hurt, this anger, the resentment, the pain, the whatever you call it. So I was born into this realm. My soul filled with those things already, not even before I entered this realm. So then I was in the hospital, lying there all alone, totally rejected for 6 days before my parents, let's call them adopted parents, found me. And then they found this little beautiful on the outside or whatever little girl, precious. But can you imagine my inside, the soul? It was difficult for me until I've started to realize who I am in spirit, and then I got my healing of all those rejection things. And that's just me, and I had a fantastic life. I had the most wonderful parents adopting me in the community and whatever, fantastic. But can you imagine you land in an orphanage or you were born into a family who is so broken themselves that they cannot love you. And then you wonder where all the hurt and pain and abuse comes from in this realm. So the only thing that we can do to anybody out there is really to bow down before them, and show them, try to open their eyes to the abundant life that's already in them, to their true identity, that they are perfect in spirit and truth, that they are unconditional love. That love is the only thing that can heal and deliver and set them free from these things that's keeping them hostage. So that's why we're also told, do not judge. How can we judge anybody? We are not walking in their shoes. We were not born into their family with all the things that came, spiritual, whatever, worldly things that they get caught up. So the awesome thing with this whole bow down story, that the life in me just made so alive in me, is we got to bow down before the life in everyone else if we want to serve or whatever our God, because that's where the life, our God, the life is. It's in everybody. It's in the flowers, the trees, all around us. It's that life, and it's in everybody, and it's just there, ready to unconditionally love. Through whom? Through all of us, through those that have been delivered and set free and healed already. And isn't it the awesome news? Thank you that I can share it with you. There's nothing to fear. There's no one to fear. There's no one to hate. We've got to stop looking at others and see their outward fleshly stuff, manifestations. We've got to stop looking at what they do and don't do, and judge them compared to those things. The only thing that we need to do is love the spirit and life in them, like we love ourselves, the life and spirit in us. And that's how we experience heaven on earth. Have a fantastic day. Love you lots. I'm gonna sew this thing and see if it's gonna work. You've got what it takes to live abundantly through this day, because you've got the abundant life in you, leading you, guiding you, providing for you whatever you need in this moment. It's all that we need, that we can see in everybody else as well, and love in everybody else. What an awesome day. Love you lots. Is it from Zetster's Lab?